Now, in this video, I don't know whether to title this a video essay or a rant. I'm sure that'll come to a decision by the time I release this video, but there was something interesting I was thinking about with the fact that Marvel will be bringing back the Savage Hulk in Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's the fact that you guys probably noticed that Hulk pretty much was done right in the early 2000s, and ever since that point, the character has felt really disrespected and also has seemed like less of a great character that he potentially could be within the MCU or media. There's many great comic book runs, but in terms of theatrical, the Hulk has not been done right since 2003 or really 2008. So what are the reasons as to why the Hulk has not been the same character since that era of Marvel? Well, let's start back to the 2003 movie. Though it does have many flaws, and I can acknowledge them, what it did do right was the Bruce Banner and Hulk dynamic. It pretty much was that character stripped straight from the comic book pages onto the big screen. And though incredibly artsy and slow paced, it did nail down the character very well, displaying his strength and also the traumatized side of Bruce Banner that you would have suffering from the abuse of his father. Creating that dual identity from his anger and trauma, embodying the Hulk, which is something that's very accurate to the comic books. And his feats of strength were displayed super well throughout the film as well. Go to 2008 and The Incredible Hulk was actually, in my opinion, is still one of my favorite Marvel movies, though not highly regarded by critics. I do think that as a Hulk fan that they nailed everything right about the character. For starters, they didn't make him the size of the Jolly Green Giant, which was lovely. I really adore the design that they went with the character, and if you look at the overall film, it was more of a tribute to Bill Bixby's version of the Hulk, where it's constantly him on the run, searching for a cure, and then trying to rid himself of the Hulk. And I felt like it was a fantastic reference to that. They also displayed the savageness, the visceralness of the Hulk and Bruce's identity.
Hulk! Smash!
And they did show little moments of his strength increasing throughout the battle with his fight of Abomination or with the military. Also felt like a great setup for his character going into the Avengers, and the Avengers actually relatively handled Hulk very well in that film as well. He was seen as the big gun throughout the entire film. Like, he is the loose cannon. And that was a great utilization for his character. I did like the casting of Mark Ruffalo in the role. I think he did a fantastic job as Bruce Banner.
Dr. Banner, now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
And then also showing how threatening he can be with the Hulk underlying underneath him. Come Age of Ultron, the thing is that they relatively kept that same energy with the Hulk in that film. The only problem being is that this is where you really start to notice him being kind of depowered. And Iron Man did end up knocking out the Hulk in the Hulkbuster in that movie, which Iron Man is powerful, but I wouldn't say that he would win a one-on-one fight with the Hulk, even with the Hulkbuster. I will say that the film does have a really good excuse with the Hulk being distracted, and I could let that slide. Where the downfall of the character happened was not even really Infinity War, which we'll get to, but it really was when you look at a film like Thor Ragnarok, where they tried to make the Hulk more of a giant baby, and also he seemed far less powerful in the film, getting worked by Thor, also not really doing much in the film if you really look at it. And then come time for Infinity War, and I do like the setup that they had for that movie where you did see the Hulk get absolutely pummeled. I thought that was a great utilization of the character, showing such a strong character get beat up, making this enemy seem like a major threat. but then in Infinity War he doesn't have a comeuppance moment, and apparently there were scrapped scenes where Hulk was supposed to burst out the Hulkbuster armor that Bruce Banner was wearing and have a rematch with Thanos, but they ended up cutting it, and I felt like that was kind of a bummer and a non-redemptive moment for the character. And then the true downfall happened when Avengers Endgame came out, and then you have Smart Hulk. Smart Hulk in the comic books is actually far less goofy of a character than they portray within the MCU as being more comedic. They don't really utilize him very well within the story because you already have super smart characters within the MCU who figure things out. So that takes away from Bruce Banner's smarts. You also have characters that are physically stronger than him in the MCU now, which also takes away one of the Hulk's components as well. So it's kind of like, where does the Hulk fit in the MCU now that you have those components basically stripped away from him? Also, the biggest problem that I have is also the fact that a lot of the things surrounding the Hulk seem to be getting very disrespected, and Shang-Chi Abomination's cameo was pretty much just made for comedic relief. And then Captain America Brave New World was really meant to be an Incredible Hulk sequel, but it just had really terrible writing, and it had payoffs that should have been meant for Bruce Banner but were used for Sam Wilson, who has no connection to these characters whatsoever, and it would have benefited Bruce Banner better as a character. Now, Marvel using Brand New Day as a way to kind of bring back the Savage Hulk is an interesting move, and will it work overall? I will say probably not, because you still have to figure out a way to place this character within the MCU and still make Hulk fans satisfied, or makes it feel like a true return to the character. Looking back, I can say with an honest opinion that the Hulk back in 2003 and 2008 was probably used the best, and when he truly became a part of the MCU when it came to movies like Thor Ragnarok, that's when the downfall of the character happened, when they really started disrespecting the character. And all I hope for is just a moment of shine for the character that's been disrespected for a couple of years now.